Okay, so the first thing you need is you need your Texas Instrument calculator so that you can see what's going on. The matrices are the blue button and right below the math button. Do you see that inverse button? When you do the blue button and that inverse button, it takes you to a new menu, and you can either arrow over to edit or you can arrow back to edit.
Wait, I didn't do that. You said the second button is the invert button, right?
Yes.
And I'm just a square root.
I think you're doing the wrong.
You're doing the wrong button. The square root is the button below the one you're supposed to be pushing.
Oh, okay.
Inverse button is the one that has that x raised to -1. Now, there's some things that you need to know about a matrix, and you should have learned this in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and that is the size or dimension of the matrix. If you put the first number, do you see how all of a sudden I put in a 4, and so there are 4 rows that show up? So the first number is a row. The second number is how many columns. So I have a 2, there are 2 columns. The dimension is columns and rows, but it's not alphabetical. Typically, you can remember things alphabetically. It's not alphabetical. You're going to do rows and columns. So the first number is rows, the second number is columns. The good thing with having the calculator is if you put it in wrong, the calculator is going to tell you, it's going to show you. Okay, what we're doing on 12-1 is all going to be a 2x2 matrix. Okay, and the thing that you're going to be doing is really you're going to be practicing and getting used to some things, basically how to find it in the calculator and what things are commutative and what things are not. Okay, so definition wise, then what is commutative?
Can share something.
Commutative, like if you commute back and forth, you drive, right? You're commuting, you're moving. The commutative property for addition says it does not matter in what order you add, you get the same answer. It does not matter in what order you multiply, you get the same answer. So it's commutative, it switches. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've got my 2x2, and I'm going to go ahead and type in my first example, and we're just going to be adding these 2 matrices together. The first example is 2, -1, and notice when I push enter, it automatically goes across the row and then drops down. -3 and 4. So I put in a 2x2, that's 2, -1, -3, 4. And I'm going to push the blue button and matrix again. And this time I'm going to pick up the second one. So I'm going to go to edit and go down to 2 to get my matrix B. And it's a 2x2 matrix. If you are adding, you have to have the same number of rows and the same number of columns.
How do I get it down to the second one?
If you push enter, it automatically goes down. Or are you talking about the matrix?
Yes.
Arrow down. When you're at edit, just arrow down or push the number 2.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so this matrix B, I have a -5, 4, -1, 7. Now, when you were in Algebra 1, your teacher probably wouldn't let you use the calculator, or probably even in Algebra 2, you had to do these by hand, right? Okay, so what you have to do when you're adding these is this first row, first column is going to be added to the first row, first column of A. When you're doing this in the calculator, you can just go back and pick up a 1, put a plus sign, pick up the matrix 2. The calculator does it for you. There's your answer. You're done.
Oh, snap.
I am not going to make you go back and do it by hand like your Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 teachers did.
Can you like multiply together?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, if it tells you to do A minus B, then you're going to put a minus sign. And you're going to take the first row first entry and subtract the first row first entry, and it's going to get you 7. Okay? The calculator does all of that, so there's no work for you to show me in this class. I just need you to know what you can and can't do with the calculator. There's some things that you need to know, just terminology-wise. What is a zero matrix?
It's all zero.
Yeah, if you were talking about a 2x2 matrix, then every entry in that matrix are zeros. So it's a zero matrix. If you add 0 to any number, what do you get? That same number. So if you add a matrix and you subtract the same matrix, what do you think you're going to get? The zero matrix. So it works similar to real numbers. You have a 5, you subtract a 5, you get 0. 0 is the identity for adding. Okay? So you're going to get that zero matrix. The next thing I want you to see is the identity matrix. The identity matrix is, in this case, a 2x2, ones on the diagonal. The identity matrix are ones on the diagonal. When you subtract your matrices, you need to understand that it matters the order that you put them in the calculator. If you do 5 minus 3, the answer is 2. If you do 3 minus 5, the answer is a negative 2. It's not the same thing. They're not commutative. So when they show you in the calculator that they want you to do BA, that means you have to put the matrix B in your calculator first, then A. And there's no add subtract here, so what is that? That's multiplication. Multiplication for matrices are not commutative. And on this assignment, there's a couple of things that they're going to ask you to do. And I want you to, it says compute AB and BA. So what are you doing? You're multiplying matrix A to matrix B, and then you're going to multiply matrix B to matrix A. And the reason why they want you to do that is so that you see they're not the same answer. So you're going to do it twice. Let's look at problem 13. 13 matrix A is 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, and matrix B is 3, negative 4, and negative 1, 2. And what I would do if I were you guys, I would put A and B so you don't get confused, right? So blue button, the inverse button, which is matrix, I'm going to arrow left, I'm going to push enter. It's still a 2x2, you can just push enter, enter. And in the first row, first column, I'm going to put a 1. First row, second column, negative 1. 2, negative 2. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick up my matrix for the second one, B, and it's a 2x2, so I'm just going to push enter and put 3, negative 4, negative 1, and 2. Is everyone to there? Does everybody have A and B in the calculator?
Wait, how did you say to go with B again?
When you type in B, you're going to push the blue button and the matrix button. I'm going to edit and then just push the number 2 or arrow down to 2 and push enter. And then put in the values that are in matrix B. I'm going to quit out of there and I need to compute AB. So I'm going to go into my matrix and push 1, go into my matrix and push 2. It says I need to compute AB. AB is side by side with nothing in between it. And push enter. There's my answer. Matrix B, matrix A. There's my answer. Do you see how they are different answers? They want you to see that matrix multiplication is not commutative.
It's not my God.
Other than the names I put on it, it doesn't bring up the screen here. It just,
Oh, that's
I don't know.
Oh, I did not get that. Or did I type?
Did you put, okay, when you push the blue button
Yes.
and the matrix, did you put 1, -1, 2, -2 in your matrix A?
Yes.
When you push the blue button and 2, did you put 3, -4, -1, 2 into matrix B?
No.
That's why you got a different answer than I did. What was your question?
So when you see the names right on the letters, it'll bring it down here.
When I do the blue button and matrix, I'm at the names, and then I just push on 1 or 2 to get it to show up on my home screen. Yes.
I click on it, but it just goes back to like the edit screen, but it types in.
Okay, you need to do the blue button and the mode, which is quit. You have to, if you are entering stuff in, a lot of the times you have to get out of that screen before you can do anything else, or it's trying to insert this matrix into the other matrix. Okay? What does scalar multiplication mean to you? Scalar means a single real number.
Sounds scary.
Scalar multiplication is when you take a number, a real number, and you multiply it by a matrix. Now, it matters that I have -2 times A. Well, what do you think I'm going to do with matrix A? Every entry is going to be multiplied by a -2. So some of you may want to do this instead of doing in the calculator. You may just want to double everything so that my matrix A, which was 1, -1, 2, -2, is now -2, 2, -4, 4. Or if you're not good with multiplication, you may just want to just enter it in the calculator, get the answer, and move on. So that is strictly up to you.